Boys and girls, what is going on? Oh my gosh, that's bright and that does not look good. Give me a second. Something went wrong with the video. Something went incredibly wrong with the video. Let me make sure it looks good on the live stream. What's happening here? Am I way too saturated? Do I look fine? Oh, I look fine. It's just my monitor. It's just my screen. Because of the different stuff. Whatever. This is whatever. How's everybody doing tonight? We're gonna hang out. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna watch some preseason football games. We're going to try to inaccurately predict what is going to happen with the 53-man roster. And we're just going to do that exercise, have some fun tonight. That's really it. I don't got any other big plans besides that. Last couple of Fridays have been really, really hectic in terms of we had finals, we had all this stuff, and I missed streaming. I got my big water. I got my dinner. It's just hang out. Let's watch some preseason football. Let's talk some stuff. First thing I want to say before we get into the stream, before we start doing the 53-man roster, before all of that stuff happens, there is one thing that I did want to bring up, and that's the offensive line situation. One, because it's like the biggest off-season story for the New York Jets right now in terms of things not named Aaron Rodgers, is the offensive line situation. And a lot of people have hit the panic button. And I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet. Now, for those of you who are subscribed to Matt O'Leary, which should be all of you, and if you're not subscribed to Matt O'Leary, you're doing something wrong in life. But you saw in his video, and also if you're subscribed to me, and if you're not, you should be subscribed to me as well. You should have saw my video talking about the tweet exchange that I had with Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic, where he brought up the idea, or more importantly, the sad reality that it seemed to be that Billy Turner is going to be the starting right tackle of the New York Jets. That concerns me greatly. Greatly. I am insanely worried if that's actually the case. Let me say this. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is stupid enough to let that actually happen. Aaron Rodgers knows the level of quality of this football team. Aaron Rodgers knows what is at stake. And I don't think that he's going to let his offensive coordinator's favoritism, or whatever you want to call it, in regards to an offensive lineman, affect the real possibility of him attempting to win a ring in New York. So with all of that being said, let's say hi to some people. Let's say hi to some people in chat. Dakota, always, doesn't matter. Dakota's always the first person in my chat saying hi, dropping a green heart. I love you, Dakota. Thank you for stopping by. DFF, one of the biggest supporters of the channel, always dropping the super chats, dropping the super stickers. I appreciate everything that you do. Harlan in the house. Harlan Abraham, welcome, welcome. Hank G, we got Dom C of Project Prospect. I'm so excited for this year's draft content with Dom. And especially since he's going to be doing a lot of that stuff solo, I'm really excited to see what we can get from Dom C in terms of content. I've been pushing for him to do his content for a long time, and to see him actually go through with it and making his own content and like solo is really, really exciting. Love that. Ant Jets in the house. K Yeti. Car Fox all in the house. Buffalo. So you want Billy Turner at right tackle? Is that what you're saying? Because that was the take, that I don't want Billy Turner at right tackle. And if you're disagreeing, that means that you want him there. Is that what you want? We just exposed Buffalo as a Billy Turner truther? Is that what's happening? I have been watching the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tampa Bay Bucks. That's the preseason game I've got on this screen. And the only reason for that is it was between this and then like Cincinnati and the other team. I forget what the other game was. What was it? It was Cincinnati and oh man. Whatever. You get the idea. Oh, Cincinnati and Green Bay, and I didn't really care for that at all. And I wanted to see how Broderick Jones was doing, if I'm being honest. I was really, really curious to see, how was Broderick Jones doing? It's like, because a lot of us were really big fans of Broderick Jones. And yeah. I have a Billy Turner Jets jersey on right now. Probably the only one that exists. I swear to you, not even his family has Billy Turner Jets jerseys. You're the only one out there who's got one, Buffalo. Oh, man. What's up, Buffalo? What's up, Kevin? How are you doing tonight? How's the baby girl? Very exciting. It's been a couple of months now that you've had her, which is great. I'm about to get baby number 2 soon. Very excited. He did. That was much less enjoyable, though. Why so much hate for Billy Turner? Everyone is picking on the guy. Chris Nelson, I don't think it's picking on the guy, right? Like, there are certain players that have certain ceilings or expectations assigned to their name, right? A great example of a player that gets picked on but is definitely an NFL player, just not for the New York Jets, is a guy like Ashton Davis, right? Ashton Davis is a guy who can play safety for like 12 NFL teams. The Houston Texans would love to have Ashton Davis on their depth chart as safety 4, right? And the reason for that is because there's no expectations attached to the Houston Texans. The reality is the Houston Texans are going to be competing for the number 1 overall pick. So using a roster spot on a guy who specifically is just going to be a special teamer has a massive upside for them. Remember that the Houston Texans traded for Blake Cashman, a guy who never gave us a healthy season but was a special teamer, and they needed guys to play their special teams. So they sent a 6th-round pick for Blake Cashman. And then they loved the guy, and they re-signed him. Blake Cashman wasn't good enough to be on the New York Jets roster. So it's not about picking on him. It's about the expected role that he's going to have. Buffalo, in our group chat, me and Buffalo had a little exchange of, if Billy Turner is offensive tackle 4, if Billy Turner is offensive tackle 5, that's fine. That's his role. Like, a catastrophe in the offensive tackle room would need to happen for us to feel good with Billy Turner. And that's what his role is. But he's being put in a position by our coaching staff that does not fit his level of play. It would be the same thing if the New York Jets ran it back this year with Zach Wilson under center. We know that Zach Wilson right now is not ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, that he needs a mental reset, that he needs to sit. Well, Billy Turner's just not good enough to be a starting offensive tackle. So what comes along as bullying is just coming to the realization that, you know what? Dude's not good enough. Doesn't deserve to start. Exactly what Harlan says here. That's it. Just doesn't deserve it. All right. Let's hop into the meat and potatoes of this draft. Not this draft. What am I talking about? Of this stream. Let's do, or let's attempt to do a 53-man roster prediction I am going to put this on black so that people can actually see. Boom. I'm going to zoom in. How do I do that? I'm going to go here. I'm going to make this like much bigger. And then I'm going to come here to here. And I'm going to make this like huge. Let's go like this big. And then all right, that works. That works. Let's just do the easy ones. Let me pull up the New York Jets depth chart. I'm gonna put this over here. We'll put this over here. We're gonna do the easy ones. We're gonna do the starters because these are obviously gonna be the easiest ones that we can do. Guys that we all know are gonna make the roster. Aaron Rodgers, duh. Breece Hall, duh. Wait. All of this I want lined up in the center. Breece Hall, duh. Garrett Wilson. No, not Tab. Alan Lazard. Corey Davis. Tyler Conklin. I'll save that. Left tackle we know is going to be Dwayne Brown. Left guard is going to be Laken Tomlinson. This is pretty easy as of right now. We'll leave the center there. We know Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be the starting right tackle. We don't know who's going to be there. Left defensive end, we know that it's going to be Jonathan. Let's put just John Franklin Myers. No, Myers. Then left defensive tackle is going to be Al Woods, probably in the starting position. Yeah, Quinnen Williams, and then Carl Lawson. Super easy. Also super easy. Then we know this one is going to be strong safety is going to be Jordan Whitehead. We can put these in. Sauce Gardner and alrighty, boom. DJ Reed, duh. I was looking up how to spell Michael Carter. Yeah, Michael Carter the second. Punter, obviously, these are, and again, easy one. Holder, Thomas Hennessy, the GOAT. Kicker is Greg. How do you spell Zerline? Zerline. And then punter is Tomas Morstead. Beautiful. So here are the starters. We know this one. This is pretty easy, right? These are the guys that we can, without a doubt, say are going to be on the roster. This is pretty simple, right? I should keep track of how many players I have. Give me a sec. I need 53. I need 53. 53. I'm gonna keep a record. 1, 2. Oh crap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. Got 20 players as of right now. So I think easy. We can keep going. Zach Wilson is going to be QB2. No matter what anybody believes, wants to argue anything from whatever perspective, blah, blah, blah. That's what's going to happen here. Right? He is going to be quarterback 2. Now, I'm going to put Tim Boyle here, but I'm going to put an asterisk next to his name because Tim Boyle as QB3, thanks to the new rules for the NFL, does not hit the 53-man roster. He doesn't count against the 53-man roster. The New York Jets can carry a third quarterback for free. That's awesome. Now, running back 2 and 3. Now, I'm going to put these two names here, and this is not me saying the order of these guys. This is just me thinking first down, second down, and third down. Who's your third down back? Who's your first and second down backs? And all of that. So I'm going to put Israel Abanikanda as RB2 and Michael Carter as RB3. Now, again, this is not a thing about saying, you know what, this is roles or anything. This is just, we know that these guys are going to be on the roster. Right? Like, and whichever role they get is whatever. But that's that. So, we're good there. The real question comes with, are we going to carry a fourth running back? Now, here is what I think is going to happen. I am going to put this in red. I'm going to put Breece Hall in red. And red is going to mean that at the beginning of the year, I think that he is going to be on the IR. I think we're going to put him on the physically unable to perform list, on the IR, and we're going to keep him off of the roster, freeing up an extra roster spot. Now, the name that I'm going to put here is going to get a lot of people triggered, but you have to follow the whole thought process. The whole thought process, okay? Oh, crap. And then, no. And then, okay, before people freak out at me and start yelling at me, blah, 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 I'm just looking up to make sure how to spell his name. Give me a second. But I think objectively, and I'll explain the whole thought process here, but I think this guy at the beginning of the year is going to be RB3 while we're waiting. Yeah, okay, it is. All right? Okay, I get it. I already can see the comments of people yelling at me. Right? Why did I put Travis Dye on the roster? Okay. For you to put RB4 in this position, right, with Breece Hall and then moving him to the IR and then adding a running back afterwards, the running back would need to clear waivers, right? So you would have to cut a running back, have them clear the waiver wire, and then add them back onto the roster after all of that happens. And with all of the reports coming out of camp that Bam Knight is having himself such a good camp, I don't think he's going to clear waivers. Now, the follow-up question is, if Bam Knight is having a really good camp and is arguably right now the best running back that we have right now, why is he not making the roster? Well, I'm going to take some words from one of my favorite people on the planet in Dom C, but I agree with everything that he said, and that's the fact that Bam Knight doesn't do any one thing really all that special. You can find Bam Knights off into the distance. Boycott activity. We haven't gotten there yet. I just put in the guys that we know 100% are starting. Not people that have maybe a little bit of a question mark or a conversation. We haven't got there. We're starting with the running backs, and then we're going to work our way down. We're going to hit wide receivers, tight ends. Then we'll talk about Nick Bawden. Then we're going to do the offensive line, the defense, and so on and so forth. But as I was saying, welcome. Hey, John. What's up, man? Been a while. But so that's the whole thing. And with teams who need running backs out there, needing a guy that falls forward, I'm going to go under the assumption that some team is going to find some type of value in a guy like Bam Knight, and they're going to scoop him up. And I'm cool with that. That's why I'm exposing him. Because I would feel comfortable with either Bam Knight or Travis Dye as RB4. And whichever one clears waivers once, we know they're going to be able to clear waivers a second time. And that's fine. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Because once Breece Hall is healthy and we bring him back, we're going to waive the other running back, and we're going to carry 3 running backs. So for the time being, these 1, 2, and 3 are the actual running backs that we're going to see for a majority of the season. And Travis Dye is just going to be there for the first, let's say, 4 weeks, the first 6 weeks, however long we keep Breece Hall out and he's not playing. John Nolte with the super chat. Thank you for donating to the Get My Kid a bunch of Jets gear fund. He's already got a bunch of Jets gear. And this is just going to be added to that fund. I appreciate you. You're the best. Love you dearly. Love you dearly. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But yeah. So that's the running back room. Any questions about the thought process here? Everyone up to date why I got Travis Dye instead of Bam Knight? Cool. If you got any questions, I know the chat's a little bit behind. We'll circle back. We'll answer that. Now let's talk wide receiver. We've got the big 3, the guys that we know 100% are going to be probably the starters. If we set 3 wide receivers out there, these are the 3 guys that are probably going to do that. That makes sense. A guy that I think is going to make the roster no matter what is McCole Hardman. Right? That's going to happen. Another guy that... Here's where this conversation comes into play, right? Is we've got to wide receiver 4. Wide receivers 1, 2, 3, and 4 all make a ton of sense. Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Corey Davis, McCole Hardman. Those are our 4 guys. They're going to get a lion's share of the reps. That makes sense. Rob V, what's up, man? Here's where it gets a little bit murky. Is Randall Cobb a roster lock? With the competition and the likes of Jason Brownlee, Xavier Gibson, Malik Taylor, all pushing exceptionally hard and exceptionally well, and like doing things exceptionally well, is he 100% on this roster? And while I want to say no, while I want to be able to legitimately look at this and be like, no, we're going to keep Jason Brownlee and we're going to keep Malik Taylor. We're going to keep both of these guys so that we don't have to expose one of them. I don't think that that's a reality. So I'm going to put Randall Cobb here, unfortunately. That's a sad reality, but that's what's going to happen. And the other thing I think we all need to get ready for is Randall Cobb is probably going to be a very heavy red zone target, right? I think that he has a legitimate shot of getting a lot of work in the red zone just because of the comfortability that Aaron Rodgers has with Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb can't get open at the 40-yard line. But if you tell him to get open in 3 yards in the red zone, you know, within 5 yards, within 10 yards, I think he can do that still. He's got the hands and the knowledge to find the gap in coverage in the red zone, or as Nathaniel Hackett calls it, the gold zone. So I think there's there. So now the question becomes, do you keep Malik Taylor, Xavier Gibson, or Jason Brownlee? Jake Claus makes a great point here. We're not going to run into, I hope Nick Shine isn't watching so he doesn't yell at me. What we're not going to run into is a Berrios dropped ball in the red zone situation. Buffalo, okay, see, I got to defend myself quick. Buffalo, the idea is running back 4, because Buffalo's going to put this in the chat. I'm going to get roasted, and there's no context here. There's context, Kevin, okay? I think we carry 3 running backs, but you can't put Breece Hall on the IR without... So you have to clear the running backs to then add them back in after you put Breece Hall on the IR, because Breece Hall has to be put on the 53-man roster, taking up a roster spot, and then going on to the IR. That step has to happen. So my assumption is that we're going to expose Bam Knight and Travis Dye to the waiver wire. That being said, I think Bam Knight is going to get claimed, especially because he has been one of the better running backs for the New York Jets in terms of the training camp. And so I think that there is a high likelihood that he gets claimed by like the Carolina Panthers, who could absolutely use his skill set. They need running backs. Like, they need to protect their quarterback, and the best way to protect the quarterback is to have a good run game, and dude just falls forward. So that's why Travis Dye is on the list. I think they have very interchangeable skill sets, and here's the one thing that Travis Dye does better than anybody else on this football team is pass protection. And like, Travis Dye is going to have an insanely long career because he's a running back who excels in pass protection. And Travis Dye on the team would be the best pass protector, but like, he's not going to stick around. He's going to be on the team just as long. Once we bring Breece Hall back and healthy, you waive Travis Dye and you put him there. Boom. That's it. And so the idea is the only reason Bam's not running back 4 is because he's getting claimed in this theoretical world. Boom. I had to defend myself. I'm sorry for all the people who heard that twice, but Kevin was about to roast me, and I got to try to protect myself from being roasted. Okay? Wide receiver 6, going back to wide receiver 6. I think you go with Jason Brownlee. I think you have to go with the young stud who's been bowling out at camp, who has been a favorite of Aaron Rodgers, Nathaniel Hackett, and all of that stuff. So for me, Jason Brownlee has... Ooh, I'm not typing. Jason Brownlee has done enough for me to see it, like, in camp and with how all of the offensive coordinators, the quarterbacks, everybody, and I'm not just talking about like Aaron Rodgers, I'm talking about every level. Aaron Rodgers talked about Jason Brownlee. Zach Wilson talked about Jason Brownlee. Tim Boyle talked about Jason Brownlee. Robert Saleh talked about, like, Jason Brownlee is a favorite of this coaching staff, and he deserves to be. So, yeah, there's that. So there's wide receiver 6, and I only think we carry 6 wide receivers. And yeah. Yeah, but but now you're overvaluing. First of all, leave blank the New York Jets. If you replace, like, if you give us a league average quarterback, we're I'm not saying we're a top 3 offense, but we were at least a top 10 offense. But when you're talking about rapport boycott, like, even Aaron Rodgers talked about how that's a little bit of a misnomer and it's a little bit of a, you know, like, hullabaloo and all of that stuff. And if you're picking between the 3-year veteran in the league who has had a hard time staying on rosters and the new young guy that's a favorite of every single offensive person who handles the football on the staff, I'm going to go with the young buck. And that's why Jason Brownlee is getting the thing. He is a coaching staff favorite in terms of Robert Saleh loves the kid, Nathaniel Hackett loves the kid, Aaron Rodgers loves the kid. Like, they brought him up by name without being asked. And that's where I have that's why I have Jason Brownlee here over Malik Taylor. And then the other thing is, I think Malik Taylor clears waivers. That's a reality. I don't think he's getting claimed, like, at all. And so if you can keep Malik Taylor on the practice squad, I would do that. But it's and the other thing, boycott, like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You want to see it in a preseason game. But the unfortunate reality is that Zach Wilson he did 2 drives in the first Hall of Fame game, right? And then we got to see Tim Boyle and Chris Streveler. And I don't know if either one of those guys could hit water if they were on a boat in the middle of the ocean. So leave blank says it perfectly. It is way too early in the process to really have I'm 100% with this one. But and Rob V, the reason there's a legitimate conversation about keeping Malik Taylor is because he's been balling out. The competition for wide receiver 6 is between Malik Taylor and Jason Brownlee, and with an outside shot of Xavier Gibson because of what he does in special teams, because he's a return man. And he's like a legitimately good return man. Scott Lukinger. Thank you so much. Happy Friday, T. Go Jets. Go Jets for you, Scott. Thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. All of the super chats are going to the get my babies all dressed up in Jets gear for the season. And that's really it. Fun fact. If you guys don't know, I'm going to the home opener. This is my first ever football game. Like, ever. NFL game that I'm going to be going to. I think I went to one when I was like really, really young. I don't remember it, so I don't count it. Because, like, if I don't have a memory of it, like, does it really count? Did it really happen? Consciousness? That's a philosophical question that we can have on a different stream when we all get, like, wasted and do all that stuff. Not me, because I can't drink, but that's a different conversation. But, that being said, I'm going to my first game ever. I'm going to the home opener. So, if you guys are there, let me know. Get into the description. Follow me on Twitter. My DMs are open. Hit me with a DM. Let's meet up. I'm flying in the day of the game. I'm picking up a rental car and I'm going to the game. I'll be there like at 1 o'clock. I'm going to be at the stadium at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I'm hanging out all day. So, yeah, that's that. But yeah, Jason Brownlee versus Malik Taylor is a really, really, really like a really good combo. You know, in terms of the competition for wide receiver 6. And Xavier Gibson is the guy that I think that we can stash on the practice squad. And when one of the wide receivers goes down, I think he comes in. Remember, Corey Davis, let's be honest, Alan Lazard, Corey Davis, McCole Hardman, and Randall Cobb all had injuries last year. So, like, you can stash Malik Taylor and Xavier Gibson on the practice squad. I honestly think that. And not worry. Like, you can also stash Jason Brownlee. You can stash all of these guys. But yeah. So, there's that. Boom. And those are your wide receivers. We're done. Now let's go. Let me count to make sure I'm still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 25, 26. Beautiful. Awesome. Now let's go to the tight ends. I think this is also pretty clear cut. CJ Uzama. And then, nope, it's a tab. Nope, it's a tab. And then Jeremy Ruckert. And I only think that we carry 3 tight ends. That's the reality of it. The unfortunate truth is that Kenny Aboa and Zach Kuntz, in my opinion, haven't done enough to probably justify coming onto the roster. We restructured Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzama, so they're not going anywhere. Scott Lukinger, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate the super chat, man. It means a lot. You don't have to support the channel in that way, and that you feel the need, not that feel, but that you feel like you want to. I really appreciate it. Go enjoy dinner. Tell the fiance I said hi, and yeah. Oh, Rob V. Brownlee would be picked up in a second if we tried to put him on practice squad. Remember, Jets lead the lead last year and guys that got picked up. I agree, Rob V. That's why I didn't expose him. I think a guy who can separate who's that big and who can create separation at the catch point and has strong hands, which is exactly what he does. I think there's a lot of wide receiver rooms who want that skill set, and that's why I didn't expose him. And I think Malik Taylor and Xavier Gibson, I think they clear, and that's why I put them there. I want all of these guys on the Jets roster, but until we can keep 90-man rosters, that's not a reality. Barney Miller, you and Zach Rosenblatt are wrong. AVT is going to play tackle. Barney, I hate to disagree with you, but for AVT to play tackle, we would have to have catastrophic injuries at the tackle position, in my opinion. Catastrophic. I'm talking 3 or 4 guys have to go down. I'm talking Max Mitchell, Mekhi Becton, and Dwayne Brown all have to go down. And we're staring down the barrel of an offensive line manned by Carter Warren and Billy Turner. the reality is that this offensive coaching staff knows that if you move Elijah Vera Tucker out to tackle, and again, I made a video talking about this, Barney Miller, and I'll just go into it a little bit, but I went into much, much more depth about all of this stuff in that video, so I will reference you to that video. But if you put Elijah Vera Tucker at tackle, you're fixing the offensive tackle problem, which might not actually be a problem yet. We'll have to see, right? Once Dwayne Brown gets back. You're fixing the offensive tackle problem by taking away what makes Elijah Vera Tucker special and magical. And so if you're asking me, you can pick between Elijah Vera Tucker being average or Elijah Vera Tucker being a guard and being magic and being special. I'll take Elijah Vera Tucker at special until I absolutely can't. Until the absolute last minute and I can't do it. And so that's that. So thank you for the super chat. We'll see. Time is going to tell. We got 4 weeks. A lot can change in 4 weeks. But that's my stance right now. That's what I think right now. Going back to the tight ends, I think that this is the tight end group that we're going to go with. Jeremy Ruckert is having arguably this. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. That's how I look at it right now. Like, that's the way that I look at it. Tyler Conklin has become Aaron Rodgers' favorite pass-catching tight end because, like, that's what he does excellently. And Jeremy Ruckert has become Nathaniel Hackett's favorite tight end in terms of red zone, put Jeremy Ruckert out there. Blocking, put Jeremy Ruckert out there. And this isn't, like, I know, like, see, Barney, this isn't supposed to be disrespectful to CJ Uzomah. CJ Uzomah is one of my favorite Jets. But I truly think Jeremy Ruckert is tight end one by the end of the bye week. Like, the kid is good. The kid is absolutely good. And so there's that. Now, the other thing is I think you can stash Kenny Yeboah and Zach Kuntz on the practice squad. Now, I don't think we stash 2 tight ends. And if you're going to keep one, if you're going to keep Yeboah or if you're going to keep Kuntz, I would keep Kuntz because of his physical specimen and just rare athleticism that he provides. Give him a year with Coach Middleton and see what happens there. Like, that would be something that would be super interesting to see. But both of them aren't going to get claimed. One of them will clear, and I'm cool with whichever one does clear. And yes, Dino, I'm assuming you're trying to say that Ruckert is a stud? Yeah, see, beautiful. And Barney Miller, you said it perfectly. Boom! Nick Bawden is making this team. Guys, get that through your heads. Nick Bawden is making this team. They're not dressing him at all. Like, at all. Because they don't want to risk him getting hurt. We talk about this all the time, and I'm going to steal this quote from Buffalo, and it hurts me that I'm stealing this quote from Buffalo. Because I shouldn't be stealing quotes from Buffalo. I should be coming out with my own ones. But he stole it right from me. I had this in my mind. I had it ready for a video that I'm making about Nick Bawden. We have been looking for tight ends that can do fullback stuff for a while. You know what Nick Bawden is? Nick Bawden is a fullback that can do tight end stuff. Guys, Nick Bawden is a fullback, but he provides so much value to the team in terms of what he does for the blocking schemes. But most importantly, and even more importantly, is that they feel comfortable putting him out wide. How many plays have we seen from practice and from all of this stuff? And how many clips have we seen where they're moving Nick Bawden out wide and lining him up in the slot? He's going to make the roster. And to answer your question, Barney, floating around the building seems a little bit disingenuous. Last year he was on IR because he got hurt, but the year before we claimed him in the middle of the year. I think it was week 11 or 12 we got him from Detroit. And then we brought him in and started using him, and he's been on the roster ever since. And for the short amount of time that we had him in the back half of that season, he was the second or like third best fullback in all of football and had a legitimate impactful, like he had a legitimate impact, a positive impact for the team. And remember, this was before Breece Hall, and he was clearing running lanes for Michael Carter and all that stuff. So, yeah. But yeah. He's been with the team for a while. So there's that. Can someone keep count? Can someone count for me? Remember, Tim Boyle doesn't count against the roster, and tell me how many guys I have on the roster right now. I want to make sure I don't go over. Absolutely he is, yup. Look at the stats of when he last played. He didn't play last year because he got hurt. But if you look at what he did with the New York Jets, he was a top 3 fullback in the NFL. It was Juszczyk and the guy in Baltimore were the only guys ahead of him. The only guys ahead of him. So cool. So we are at 29. Boom. Boom. So let's talk this offensive line, right? So we know Dwayne Brown is going to be the starting left tackle for this football team. We know Laken Tomlinson is the starting left guard for this football team, and we know Elijah Vera Tucker is the starting right guard for this football team. While it hurts me to say, and I don't want it, Connor McGovern is going to be the starting center for this team. And it's not that it's like a bad thing or anything like that, right? Connor McGovern is a more than serviceable center. It's just that I love Joe Tippmann. And I want Joe Tippmann on this roster. And I want him starting sooner rather than later, right? And so let me put an asterisk here. Nope. So we don't count the asterisks. I think that puts us at 31. And yeah, Barney Miller. So because of the new rule, you can carry a third QB for free, and it doesn't count towards the 53-man roster. So it's a 54-man roster, but one of your 54th spot is going to have to be Tim Boyle. Barney, I am not cutting. Well, technically, I am cutting Bam. I explained it earlier to give you a rundown. You have to put Breece on the roster, and then you have to move him to IR. So he takes up a roster spot for a little bit. So that means that you have to, cut Bam Knight and Travis Dye, and I don't think... No, you're fine, Barney. And I don't think Bam clears, but I think Travis clears. So that's why Travis makes the team. And Travis only makes the team until Bam comes and gets healthy. Not Bam, until Breece gets healthy. That's that. So, boom. And yes, Harlan, you're absolutely right. Connor McGovern is a good center. The reason I want to see Joe Tippmann is because he's the center of the future, right? It's not a matter of Connor's ability. It's the fact that I'm just excited for our second-round draft pick, and I want to see him playing sooner rather than later. Exactly. That's why Breece is in red. I should have made that clear. Yeah. Yeah, but you can carry a free third quarterback, Buffalo. You can dress a 49th QB, but you can also carry a free third QB. Even if you can't, then Tim Boyle goes to the practice squad and you address him. I don't think we carry 3 quarterbacks. But yeah, boom, that's that. So there's your interior centers, right? So now, then you don't carry him. Then you don't carry Boyle. He's on the practice squad, and then you're fine. Because I thought you can carry a free 53rd. I thought you could carry a free quarterback as the 54th. Oh, then you just don't carry the third quarterback. Screw that. I'm not carrying a third quarterback, especially not Tim Boyle. I wasn't going to carry two. So, anyway, CJ Uzomah was a quarterback in high school. So, we just run it out of the Wildcat. Hell, Chaz Surratt was a quarterback at college. Right? So, just run the Wildcat. I'm not dressing him. If that's the case, Tim Boyle's gone. Gone. So that's that with the centers. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go with the backup left tackle here, and this is going to give a little bit of context, right, for what's going to happen. And I think it's Mekhi Becton. And then Carter Warren. So let me add these two players to the list. So, boom. Those are your backup left tackles. I think that makes too much sense. I think that's really, really easy. Really, really simple. That's fine. I got that. Right tackle. If this is purely a I hope to God please situation. I think Max Mitchell is going to be fine. I think the Hall of Fame game was an outlier, and I think that he's going to be much better tomorrow. Here's the hope that he's going to be much better tomorrow. But I cannot, for the life of me, see why Billy Turner is looked at as a starting tackle, and I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. In a perfect world, I'd have Mekhi Becton at right tackle, but I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it. Right? I don't think that they're going to put him at right tackle. I don't think that he wants to play right tackle with his knee. And so, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Buffalo. I was incorrect in that. So, Tim Boyle's gone. We're not carrying a third quarterback. That's fine. But in this situation, I'm not going to... Yeah, they're starting everybody, I think. Like, a bunch of their guys are starting. I'm watching the game right now. And so, yeah. Barney, I don't think so either. The right tackle for the New York Jets right now is on the roster. And I don't believe that the New York Jets are going to add a new player. This idea that Zach Martin is going to become available, I don't think that's true, right? Zach Martin's not a real option. And then the other thing too, and then the other thing is people keep talking about like Dalton Risner, and it's just like, I don't think that's an option either. So again, I'm gonna hold. This is, again, we can have differing opinions, but my opinion of the situation right now is that I think Max Mitchell is going to step up his game. I believe in the kid. I really, really do. So much so that, like, if you're a member of the channel, which you can sign up for less than a cup of coffee a month, if you're a member of the channel, like, you can put, I have a Max Mitchell emote, but like, this is me trying to be like unbiased here. I don't think like that's going to happen. Player highlight. There's a reason I had to cut. Watch it back. I don't want to keep explaining it. Bam got claimed off of waivers and Travis didn't in my scenario. And that's it, because you have to put Breece Hall on the roster and then you have to then put him on IR, blah, blah, blah. It's a whole thing. That's it. There's the whole thing. But, again, but yeah, so I think Max Mitchell looked more than adequate last year as an offensive tackle, playing 15 pounds underweight, and, you know, as a rookie who probably shouldn't have started, and I think he punched above his weight, and I think because of that, you can, and like the fact that, like, look, he's coming off of injury, so let him get fully up to speed coming off of the injury. But two, the guy's walking around with 15 extra pounds of weight. Let him get used to his weight. I'm not worried yet. And I think that Max Mitchell is going to start, and I think it's going to be fine. And like that's the thing that like one of the things that we need to like understand is that we have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers we were like 26th in the league on average time to holding the ball. Like this is a different scenario. And like what's the other option at right tackle? There isn't a free agent option, and teams don't trade starting tackles. So there isn't another option. And people keep bringing up Elijah Vera-Tucker as an option, and I just don't think that that's going to happen. Like, I don't see this coaching staff pushing Elijah Vera-Tucker at tackle. So if you have to pick between the right tackles, is it Mitchell or is it Turner? I'm going to take Mitchell. So that's that. Because Barney, I said it before, and I made a whole video talking about it. They want Elijah Vera-Tucker at tackle because he's freaking magical at tackle. Our run game is so incredibly efficient because the one thing that our interior offensive line does so incredibly well is the run game because of what we can do with our guards on the move. That's the reality about it. So, and Rob, I said it a little bit earlier. I don't think, look, in a perfect world, I think that Mekhi Becton plays on the right side. That would be a perfect scenario. Like, that's our best 5 offensive linemen. But, like, it doesn't make sense. But, Barney, that would be the opposite. You would want Elijah Vera-Tucker at guard until Breece gets back. Breece can create his own holes. Nobody else on the roster can. You need Elijah Vera-Tucker pulling as a guard to create those holes. Elijah Vera-Tucker is freaking special. He's magical. He's out of this world good in the run game. And when you take his ability away and you put him at tackle, he's just average. That's it. He's an average tackle. And so, again, and yeah, I have no idea if his knee will hold up on the right, if it won't hold up on the right, whatever, and all that stuff. That being said, this is how I think the offensive line is going to end up being week 1. Okay, Alexa, shut up. I just don't think the reality is it's either Billy Turner or Max Mitchell, and I think that this offensive coaching staff is leading Billy Turner, and that hurts me dearly, so I'm putting Max Mitchell in to try to will it into existence. But it's either going to be Max Mitchell or Billy Turner at right tackle. Randilla, they asked him the question, and then he was like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but like barely above average, right? Like he's a really good offensive lineman, but he's an all-pro at guard. He's special at guard. So that's the whole thing. Boom. And I'm going to need to find out where they got that stat. If someone can tweet me, DM me that where they got that stat from, because I didn't see that. Top 5 at tackle? According to what? No, yeah. I agree, Rob. Turner can't play. But this coaching staff, I don't think looks at Elijah Vera-Tucker as a legitimate tackle option. That's just the reality of it. They want him at guard, and I see why. I get why. Now, I'm probably in the minority here, but I get it. I think that you can figure something out with the right tackle situation and keep what makes your offensive line, specifically in the run games, special. Zach Martin and okay, but what we're talking about, they're different styles of guard. They don't run the same offense. Zach Martin is the best guard in football. I didn't say that AVT was the best guard in football. I didn't say that. I said he was special. I said that he can make an all-pro. And I think that's absolutely true. And M. Lopez, that's the other thing. We're going to run a ton of 2 tight end sets. Oh, so, okay. Okay, so again, which makes sense. He's a good offensive lineman. That makes sense that he had a really high win rate. Yes, they are. But they're in a different stratosphere. Patrick Mahomes is an all-pro player, but he's in a different stratosphere. I can say that Garrett Wilson can be an all-pro, yup, but still not think that he's on the same stratus, in the same level, even anywhere near Justin Jefferson, because I don't. But that doesn't mean Garrett Wilson can't be an all-pro. I think Sauce and Patrick Surtain live in their own world by themselves as the elite cornerbacks of the NFL. But I can still say that I think that DJ Reed is an all-pro. Like, there's different levels. Patrick Mahomes is in a level of his own. Doesn't mean that Joe Burrow's not an all-pro. You're comparing AVT, who has all-pro potential, can absolutely play that high, at that level, and has played at that level, and still not say that he's Zach Martin. I'm not comparing him to the best guard in football. I'm comparing him to himself. That's it. So, like, that's that. There's different levels of it. Whatever. Don't want to have that argument. But yeah, this is the offensive line situation that I think that ends up happening. But yeah. And then it comes down to the rest of the offensive line. So normally you would carry 6 interior offensive linemen, but because I'm keeping Carter Warren as the offensive tackle to give him a pseudo redshirt year, we don't have that luxury. And while for me, I wanted to keep Cologne, it does not seem that that's what this team is looking at. So unfortunately, how do you spell his name? Wes Schweitzer is the guy who takes up that 5th interior offensive lineman spot. Now, the other thing that really helps is that Billy Turner can also play interior offensive line. So if, like, a worst-case scenario, we can get into a situation, we can bump Billy Turner inside. And he's actually was pretty good at the last time he played guard in the NFL. But yeah. So there is that. Who is our best help to help out weak tackles? You just put a tight end there. Any of them. All 3 of them are really good inline blockers. And we're going to run a ton of tight end sets, 2 tight end sets, all that stuff. So my expectation is that you're going to put a tight end on the right side rather consistently until Max Mitchell, Billy Turner, whatever it is, shows that they can handle it on their own. And Cologne put better tape last year than Wes Schweitzer did, in my opinion. And yeah, I think Carter Warren is definitely and should definitely get the red shirt year. Like, I think that he should, like, sit out, relax, be fine, and all that stuff. Yeah, Martin's not leaving Dallas. Dallas is gonna pay him, right? Like, when was the last time that Jerry shipped out a player that good? You know? When was the last time that he did that? I don't think Jerry's that dumb to ship him out. And again, I don't think any team is going to be trading an offensive tackle, especially like the names that people keep bringing up is like Lyle Collins and David Bakhtiari. David Bakhtiari's contract is unmovable. He's a $40 million cap hit in 2024. $40 million cap hit. It's not going to happen. And Lyle Collins, which would be, like, that would be ideal for me. You could trade for Lyle Collins, you do it. But why would the Cincinnati Bengals, a Super Bowl caliber team, trade away a really good offensive tackle when the last 3 years their seasons have been derailed because of bad offensive tackle play? Like, if you're telling me that Lyle Collins is good enough to clear a medical, come on. Why are you going to trade him? You just keep him. You just hold on to him. Have him compete with the first-round pick that's a bust. And that's it. So, again, offensive tackles, especially good ones, they don't get cut and they don't become available via trade. So, yeah. Again, M. Lopez, that's a weird situation because, like, which version of the offensive line? Like week 1, like when we had AVT and all those guys, like on the line, like that's probably a pretty decent line. Like, Rob Via forgot. Joe Burrow's hurt. Ugh. He's hurt. And Johnny Jimenez, he can't restructure. He's already restructured his contract. They already restructured his contract this year. Like, that's the thing. Bakhtiari is going to be a Packer whether he likes it or not. There's nothing that we can do about it. There's nothing he can do about it. There's nothing that the Packers can do about it. That contract is so bad. So bad. You're not getting out from under it. It's abysmal. It's a really bad contract. So there's that. There's the offensive line. That's everybody. That's the whole offense. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. I'm at 36 players. Beautiful. Wait, is that actually a thing, JD? Are they thinking that the calf injury is serious enough that he's going to miss the beginning of the season? Yo, if that's the case, the NFL is going to cancel the preseason, cancel in-person practices, and we're going to do off-season work via Madden. M. Lopez, I totally agree with you. Not in like a massive, like we don't have to worry about the offensive line kind of way, but I think that we have to remember that last year, the protection had to hold up for 3 seconds because we had like the 27th ranked time to pass in the NFL. It was horrible. Our quarterbacks held onto the ball way too long. With Aaron Rodgers, he gets the ball out quick and fast and efficiently. And like, so the protection doesn't need to hold up as long, so you don't need tackles that are as good, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Gotcha. Didn't know that. Honest though, I'm good with our line. I think that with A-Rod, it will help the line a lot. The quick release is no joke. Absolutely. Did that count the spins? I'm not sure how they track that stat, J. Claus. That's a really good question. Zoe Royalty, they shouldn't get rid of preseason football. Only allow training camp and joint practices. That's it. Oh no, Zoe, I was making a joke. I was making a joke. They're never going to get rid of the preseason stuff or the preseason work, and they shouldn't. It's really good for the health of the players to slowly ramp up to in-game shape. I was just making a joke about doing off-season training camp via Madden. Yo, dude, they look so bad. I have it on this screen, and I'm watching it through the corner of my eye. Sean Payton is going to quit again. They traded a first-round pick, and he's leaving after one season because they're horrible. Like, Russell Wilson is not good at all. That's a problem. All right, let's go to the defense. Defense should be a little bit easier, right? Defense should be way easier. So let's talk about the interior of the defensive line. Quentin Williams and Al Woods. Why did I put Al Woods in front of Quentin Jefferson? Has nothing to do with Quentin Jefferson and everything to do with Al Woods as a first and second down defensive tackle. That's it. That's it. That's why he's there. So Quentin Jefferson, I love this guy. I think he's awesome. I'm very happy that we signed him. I think that he is going to be a really underrated signing for the New York Jets this year. He's going to go under the rug, under the radar for a long time, but he is phenomenal. But Al Woods is just a big man-eating interior defensive lineman who has been finally given the opportunity to rush, and he's going to do awesome things. And I think you're going to see him on first and second downs. And there you go. On that conversation, Rob, we play them week 5 to answer that question. And so, yeah. And then the fourth interior offensive lineman is Solomon Thomas. Defensive lineman, not offensive lineman. Jesus Christ. Is Solomon Thomas. Now, I will say this before I start hating on Solomon Thomas, because I am going to hate on Solomon Thomas just a little bit. I did not like what I saw from Solomon Thomas last year in games. What's up, Dakota? Solomon Thomas, from what we saw last year, is not good enough to be on this roster. Period. Period. Just not good enough to be on this roster. That being said, he has had himself one hell of a camp. Like, one hell of a camp. Incredibly good camp. And I think that him making the roster isn't necessarily like just favoritism, but I think he may have actually earned it. The one problem that I have with it is like guys like Matt Ioannidis. There are guys out there in the defensive tackle free agency pool that I value personally more than Solomon Thomas from what we saw last year, and I would prefer having those guys on the roster. That's the reality. And the problem is like, he was a top 3. He was number 3 overall to San Francisco. The reality is, Tanzel Smart, Marquise Spencer, and Bruce Hector are not good enough to dethrone Solomon Thomas, in my opinion. Unfortunately, but I think that there are guys and free agents out there that we can go get that are better than Solomon Thomas. And us not doing that is a little bit of a concern. But, yeah, there's that. He went to Stanford? I did not know that. Oh, my God, yeah, he went to Stanford. Look at that. No wonder he's smart. He's a smart dude. It's not just that. He is a de facto leader of that locker room, Johnny. That's one of the problem. The problem is that he is a legitimate leader to that locker room. The defensive line guys look at Solomon Thomas. They look to Solomon Thomas. He is nothing but a professional and intelligent and smart and has an insanely good work ethic. And so there's a value of keeping those guys around. But, like, we have a lot of those guys, you know? Like, Quinnen Williams is one of those guys. Like, lives, breathes, eats, poops, all of that stuff. Like... But that's a different conversation for us to have a different point, blah, 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 whatever. So now let's start talking about the rest of the other guys. Beautiful, right? So Jermaine Johnson. He's, of course, making the roster. And, guys, I'll say this. I think Jermaine Johnson is going to take Carl Lawson's job sooner rather than later. I think Carl Lawson is going to lose his job to Jermaine Johnson, and not because Carl Lawson is a bum or he's bad or he's anything like that. I think Jermaine Johnson is just going to be a stud, and they're not going to be able to keep him off of the field. I think that's I believe that in my heart. In my heart, I believe that. And then I'm going to put Will McDonald, the 4th, here as the guy backing up Jonathan Franklin Myers. Will McDonald was brought onto this team. Because of the way that we attack. We create so much pressure. Yeah, and that's the other thing. We can't get out of his contract. Like, you could just eat that money. Like, $2 million isn't a lot of money, Dom, right? But, like, it is enough. Right? Like, it's enough for you to be like, he's going to be on it. But, yeah. But yeah, that's why I have him on the roster. I didn't even bring it up all that much. He's a lock. He's going to be on this team. And yeah. But back to what I was saying. Will McDonald's skill set and his explosiveness and his speed are going to be a massive skill set because the New York Jets do stunts so often. We stunted I think the 6th or the 7th highest amount in the NFL last year, and we created so much pressure. We blitzed, I think, like the 3rd fewest. I think we were 29th. In the NFL, like the 3rd fewest in the NFL, but we created like the 6th most pressure in the NFL, and it's just because, 1, our defensive line is absolutely deep, but 2, we use the stunt incredibly effectively. Teams that stunt a lot don't blitz a lot, and teams that blitz a lot don't stunt a lot, right? Like, that's how that works. And if you guys watch the Brett Coleman, like the thing that he did from the Jets, I got those stats from there. Fantastic, like an hour and 10, 15 minutes. Watch it. It's incredible. I loved it. But yeah, and Will McDonald's skill set fits that perfectly. And I think that we're going to see another situation where Will McDonald, it's going to be hard to keep Will McDonald off the field. So, boom. I love Will McDonald. Then, Michael Clemens. Now, Michael Clemens is in a weird limbo because I don't know where to properly put him, like, on the depth chart. Because he's too big to be truly considered an edge, in my opinion, but he's too small to be truly considered an interior defensive lineman. I think what Michael Clemens' role is going to be as a 3rd down interior pass rusher. Because he's so long and so strong, he can really bully interior offensive linemen. And so he definitely, Dom will say it in the chat, he's probably, yeah, absolutely up. He's a tweener right now. He's in a weird limbo spot where he's too small to be an interior guy, too big to be an edge guy. Think JFM when we got him from the Rams, right? Like, he was a tweener. He was like too small to be an edge, too big to be an interior defensive lineman. We didn't know where to play him. He lost some weight, did all that stuff. But Dom is probably typing it out right now about Michael Clemens, that he needs to develop a pass rushing skill set. He doesn't have a pass rushing plan. Whenever he pass rushes, he just uses his brute strength and hopes that the legend of Michael Clemens is transported to the other team and that they're just scared of him. Dude, Russell Wilson is still playing. It's the second quarter. Oh my God, they have no faith in the guy. Is this the first team that is going to trade for a quarterback that they traded away? Is Drew Lock coming back? Is he coming back? They're about to trade for Drew Lock because you can't. Russ is playing in the second quarter of the first preseason game. Oh my God, they don't believe in this guy at all. Oh man. And then Bryce Huff is going to be a situational third down pass rusher. I think he's the lowest person on the depth chart right now in the edge room. I don't think that the New York Jets see his value as a first and second down guy. They're only going to use it specifically as a pass rusher on third downs or long situations, and I get that sentiment. But he is still one of the most effective pass rushers in the NFL on clear pass rushing downs. The guy is insane. And the sad reality is that this is the last year that we're going to have Bryce Huff on the team. He's going to play himself outside of a contract. We're not going to be able to keep him on New York because of how good he's going to play. And some team is going to take the bet on him being good enough to play 3 downs. I don't know if he has that skill set, but I love me some Bryce Huff. There is our interior defensive line, right? Or our whole defensive line. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. I'm at 42. 42. M. Lopez, the problem with that, I would love for that to happen. Oh, yeah, they have Stidham. I forgot about that. Stidham. It's Stidham season. Rob V. But again, it comes back to the situation. I would too. I would do it in a heartbeat. But it comes back to having the ideal of the conversation of what team is trading a good offensive lineman. Right? What team's doing that? Yeah, Tanzel Smart, gonna be another guy who's gonna, miss whatever. 2 missed field goals. I love it. We'll get there, player highlights. We're almost there. Relax. We're almost there. Okay, so let's talk about defensive backs. We're gonna talk about all of the defensive. Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk about all the defensive backs because I want to talk about the linebackers a lot because I got a lot of things to say about the linebackers because I love the linebackers. And I got a lot of things to say about the linebackers. So we're going to skip the linebackers right now. We're going to talk about corners, right? So we got corner 1, corner 2, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed. Next guy, he's going to make the team is Brandon Echols. It's going to happen. But Brandon Echols is going to be suspended. So we're going to paint this. We're going to paint this blue. Suspended Brandon Echols because he was betting. Boom. Next guy on the roster. When it comes to cornerbacks. Jimmy Moreland. Jimmy Moreland has been having one hell of an off season of a training camp. He's been doing so good. It's insane. And I love this guy. And then last but not least, Javelin Guidry. Now, because Brandon Echols is suspended, we get to carry another free corner, right? And so I think that for one game, we're going to carry Greg James. I'm going to put an asterisk on his name because it will be just for one games. And then can't forget Jared Bernard-Converse. But remember, dude's hurt. So he's going to go on the IR. Yeah, you saw it, Rob V. Hall's not on this team. It's not good enough to be on this team. Right now, the way that he's playing, he's not good enough to play for the New York Jets. It's a sad reality, but it's true. It's a true fact. I think before we do the cuts, I think we try to trade away Hall for a pick. Whether the 7th round pick, a 6th round pick, I think we're going to try to trade Bryce Hall. If not, I think we're just going to cut him. And that's just Brandon Echols has cemented himself as the backup outside corner. And the other thing is we need to carry Javelin Guidry because we'll talk about Tony Adams in a second. Can't be the backup slot cornerback anymore. We need a backup for Michael Carter. So there's that. And then I think Craig James has had also one hell of a camp, and you can keep him around for one game with Brandon Echols serving his suspension, and Jarek Bernard-Converse is going to be on the PUP list. He's still not healthy. I have no idea what's happening there. There's that. Yeah, didn't he retire? I remember Jabari. I had high hopes for Jabari. Going back to the defensive back room, we're still here, right? This kid is going to dominate. Tony Adams is the free safety we've all been waiting for, wanting, hoping for. Tony Adams is a dog. He is one of my favorite Jets players right now. Just period. He is so good. I love Tony Adams. I think that he's exactly what we need in the free safety room. I think that he's exactly what's going to happen. Everybody's been talking about it, and I've been trying to hold back on it. But everybody who said that Tony Adams is going to have a breakout year, you're wrong. He's going to have an explosion out year. He is going to be so good. Like, okay, let me dial this back. We haven't had good safety play since Jamal Adams, Marcus May. It's been a while. It's been like 5 years of subpar safety play. And now we're finally going to get two safeties that can play well. And like Jordan Whitehead, whatever, average at best, right? He grades out as an average strong safety, and that's fine. But I think Tony Adams is going to be really good. Not saying like special, oh my gosh, Hall of Fame. No. I'm just saying like the guy's going to get a second contract with the team. I think he's going to stick around for a long time. I really like Tony Adams. And yeah, Zoe, I think he's better than Pinnock. Like from what we saw from Pinnock with the Giants last year and all that stuff, I see why they kept Tony Adams over Jason Pinnock. And I was on the keep Jason Pinnock train. Like, to put it into perspective, if Jason Pinnock was still on this team, I would have been a bigger advocate for cutting Jordan Whitehead. Because I would have just started Pinnock and Tony Adams. But I think the legend of Pinnock is a little bit better than the player of Pinnock right now. Where I think the legend of Tony Adams kind of matches up with the actual player of Tony Adams. I think he's that good. I think Tony Adams is a stud. And so there's that. Now we signed him to replace him. Adrian Amos comes in and he's going to be the backup strong safety. He grades out as a better, hybrid safety linebacker, in the box kind of guy, that kind of role. Adrian Amos was obviously brought in to help replace Chuck Clark, and his production and what he does, and he matches that up pretty good, in terms of skill sets. Is he as good as Chuck Clark? No. Losing Chuck Clark to injury, especially like after just getting him, really sucked. But I think Adrian Amos is a lock to make the roster. And this is the 53. This is it. We got one more player. Take your guesses. We got one more player to keep. Am I going to carry a third safety? Am I going to go back and carry a third quarterback? What's happening here? What do you guys think? Who do you think deserves to be the 53rd person on this roster? Can I have 2 Thomas Hennessy's? I would do that. If I could clone Thomas Hennessy and have 2 Thomas Hennessy's, I would love to do that. Johnny's throwing in his vote for Zach Kuntz. Yep, it's ACL. He's done for the year. John. He's done for the year. Any guesses? There is a right answer here. There is a right answer. There's only one guy. He has become quickly one of my favorite players on this team. I'll give you a hint. Undrafted free agent safety. What the crap? Trey Dean. I don't think we keep Davis, Dom. I think we keep Trey Dean. We cut Will Parks because of Trey Dean. And Trey Dean, I think, fits the mold of that linebacker hybrid safety that the New York Jets want. We haven't done the linebackers yet. We'll get to the linebackers. We haven't done them yet. But I think it's Trey Dean. Ashton Davis has had more than enough opportunity on this team. And for what he has done, I'm sorry, I forgot I didn't do the linebackers. I got to go back and do the linebackers. For what he's done, again, he's got to keep stacking good days. But by the end of the like preseason and all that stuff, if he continues having games like the Hall of Fame game, it's going to be impossible to keep Trey Dean off of this roster. It's impossible. Ashton Davis provides zero value to this team outside of special teams. And again, special teams is a big part, but we have a lot of other guys that I think that can definitely provide value to special teams, where Trey Dean can provide value to the defense, and I'm prioritizing that. We would have to re-sign Chuck Clark and Lopez for that to happen. I would love to see that happen. But we'll have to see how Jordan Whitehead does, because Jordan Whitehead might play exceptionally well and earn himself another contract. Surratt looks like Salah with no hair. Now I have to look this up. Chaz Surratt. Images. Look, I don't see it. Like, I don't see it. Okay. I don't not see it, but I don't agree with it. I don't think you're right. Come on, that's not Salah. Come on. All right, so let's do the easy ones. Middle linebacker, CJ Mosley. And then will linebacker, Quincy Williams. Right? Easy breezy. Wait, let me count one. How many players do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, I can carry 3 more. Exactly. Boom. It's perfect. It works out perfectly. Perfectly. Quincy Williams, CJ Mosley. That's pretty easy, right? We just drafted the kid. He's not going anywhere. Zaire Barnes. You're a New York Jet. CJ Mosley's replacement in waiting, Jamien Sherwood. Now, we all know my opinions on Jamien Sherwood and what I would like to do with Jamien Sherwood and all of that stuff. I think that the best move for the New York Jets is Jamien Sherwood plays middle linebacker and CJ Mosley plays the will. I'm going to pound that until the end of time. I think that that is what we do. Like, that's that. I think that's what we should do. right? So that's that. Do we actually do that? I have no idea. Probably not. Jamie Sherwood is probably linebacker 3, and that's fine. But I like Zaire Barnes. I really like what he's done. And here is the kicker here. Here's the kicker here, right? I'm going to put a name here. Oh, no. I'm going to put a name here. Okay. And I'm going to explain what's happening here. I'm going to put this in purple. Chaz Surratt is still hurt. Well, I think you should be happy that he's on the team because I think he's one really, really good football player. He always has his nose in and around the ball, can play coverage relatively well, and knows how to tackle exceptionally well. All things that our linebackers last year struggled with who weren't named C.J. Mosley. And even then, C.J. Mosley struggled in coverage. C.J. Mosley was just an exceptional tackler. Jamie Sherwood is younger, faster, and I think has the potential to play to a relatively high level. I'm not going to say C.J. Mosley level because C.J. Mosley is an all-pro. I don't know if Jamie Sherwood can be that good, but I think that he can play well, exceptionally well, and I think that he is the middle linebacker of our future. So, yeah, those are all of the things that I look at as reasons why you should be excited that he's on your team. Not just that I think he should be a starter on this team. Okay, back to what I was talking about. Everybody's favorite linebacker. I don't like doing comps because I'm really bad at it. I don't do comps. Jamie Sherwood is Jamie Sherwood. He's a really long, lanky, athletic linebacker. Remember, he was a safety converted to linebacker who finally learned how to play the position, who can do well in coverage and can tackle exceptionally well. So that's who he is. But that's me. Again, I don't do comps because I'm really bad at comps. But Chaz Surratt should make this football team. Absolutely. Chaz Surratt is having an excellent camp. I love me some Chaz Surratt. But he's hurt. Is he going to get better before the season starts? Is he going to get healthy before the season starts? I have no idea. We have 4 weeks. We have 4 weeks until that happens. And I'm going to go under the assumption that he's healthy. I'm going to go under the assumption that he gets healthy before the season starts. Because a backup linebacker trio, the three musketeers is what I'm going to call them, of Zaire Barnes, Jamie Sherwood, and Chaz Surratt would make me exceptionally happy. I have no idea. Let's find out together. Chaz Surratt injury. August 3rd, no. Hamstring. There it is. Has a hamstring injury. No idea what type of injury or anything like that. No idea what's going on. This Denver Broncos game, Arizona game is abysmal. I'm turning that off. Has a hamstring injury. Does he get healthy? Does he make it back in time? Who knows? But if he does, he's making the roster. 100%. If he's not, I'm just throwing a dart out there because I just don't know who the Jets would keep. I haven't really seen Vigil or the other guy that we've signed. But one guy that I did notice during the Hall of Fame game, I think everybody noticed during the Hall of Fame game, and they should have noticed him during the Hall of Fame game, is Claudin Cherilus. Thank you, Nolte. I appreciate it. Claudin Cherilus was everywhere when he was playing. Now, to be fair, it was against 2s and 3s and all of that stuff, and that's fine. That's fine. But as a developmental linebacker, a guy who should never see the field and all of that stuff, ooh, he was good. He was good. Pay attention, Johnny. Tomorrow, in the 3rd or the 4th quarter, right, when all the guys who we actually care about are off the field, and now we're watching all the backups guys fighting for roster spots, Look out for Claudin Charles. I think he's number 41. Let me look it up. Linebacker. 41. Claudin Charles. Alcorn State rookie. 6'2", 230 pounds. Dude can tackle. He made himself known. Made himself known. Am I going to sit here and say that he is the next coming of... I have no idea what Claudin Charles is, but he piqued my interest. And that's more than I can say about the other linebackers. Right? Like, I have no idea who Nick Vigil is. Dude, Streveler's hurt. He can have Streveler. He could have claimed him. He cleared waivers. He's on the IR. And Sam Ugovoin, no idea who that is. But yeah. It is a interesting conversation. And so, boom. And then obviously we talk about it. Thomas Morstead, Greg Zerline, Thomas Hennessy. This is my way too early. We haven't even seen enough preseason games to have an opinion yet. 53-man roster prediction. This is the last 53-man roster prediction before the final 53-man roster prediction that we're going to do the day of, like the night after the Giants game happens. The Giant game ends, and I'm going to do a 53-man roster prediction because we're going to cut a bunch of guys the next day. That'll be the last one that I do, but that's the next one. I'm not doing another one. This is it. This is what I'm standing by. I believe this. I think I got a lot of things right here. There's a couple of question marks on this. Things that I think I could be wrong with. I'll mark them. What's a questioning? Yellow. They'll be in yellow. Travis Dye being on the team. That's a massive question mark. I'll put this in yellow. No idea what's going to happen to the right tackle. This is where I can be wrong. Right? Put Chaz Surratt because he's hurt. Not sure if he'll be healthy. I hope he's going to be healthy. And then this might be me just kind of willing it into existence. Trey Dean, I might be willing that into existence. This team might hold on to Ashton Davis for another year. I hope they don't. And then when it comes to the safeties or the corners, Javelin Guidry and Jimmy Moreland are guys that I think should make this team. But there's nothing stopping them from just keeping Justin Hardy and Bryce Hall for another year, even though I think that would be a waste of 2 spots on the 53-man roster. So there's that. So let me know. Ask some questions before we wrap up the stream in like 15 minutes. What do you guys think? Did I go overboard? Did I suck at this? Did I do good? What do you guys think? Let's see what the chat has to say. Got to ask Dom about these guys. Dude, I don't even know if Dom's going to know about these guys, right? Dom's a prospect guy, right? If you want to know about like a guy in college, Dom's your guy. Dom might know about these guys. Dom, are you in chat still? Do you know anything about the 2 linebackers that we signed? Anything at all? Dino, great question. What about the Defensive Player of the Year for the XFL? That's a great question. I think that he clears waivers, and I would love to keep him around. His name is what? Pita? It's disrespectful. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. It's just disrespectful. We're going to call him by his first name, Pita. PT, right? He does not take up a roster spot. I don't think he's out all year. I think he will start the year on the physically unable to perform list. But in the same way that you have to cut a player to then clear him, to then make the roster, like what we're doing with Breece Hall and Travis Dye up here, the same way that you have to put Breece on the roster to then and cut somebody, and then once they clear, bring them back onto the roster. Once you put Brees on the IR, you would have to do the same thing with Jarrett Bernard-Converse. You have to put him on the 53. Dom, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that's how it works. You have to put him on the 53, cut whoever you want. That person would have to clear waivers, and then once you put him on IR, you could put him in to replace the guy with the 53, and that's that. According to Dom, Vigil is a decent player. He wore the green dot as a defensive captain in Minnesota. Interesting. I honestly, John, I really liked Marquise Water. I really liked Marquise Water, and I had the same thought as you did. I didn't think he was good enough or that he warranted holding him onto the roster for a red shirt kind of year to help with that transition. But I don't think that a guy like Marquise Waters is going to get claimed. I think you can keep him on the practice squad for a year while he goes through that transition into, you know, being a linebacker and being that for what the New York Jets want. Now, the thing and the only concern I would have with that, John, would be the only thing is, we have a lot of those guys already, Jamie Sherwood, you know, and stuff like that. And, like, our linebacker room, I can't believe I'm about to say this, is kind of crowded in terms of, like, so he can be put straight on the PUP list. So there you go. Beautiful. He's straight on the PUP list. I was not sure how it would work with Jarrett Bernard-Converse. But we can put him on the PUP list, keep him, and then there you go. You can keep Craig James or somebody else. Oh, Nalty, I don't think it was in Mosley's absence. It was instead of Mosley. Mosley and Sherwood were out there, and Sherwood got the green dot. That's why I think that they're going to think about giving him the green dot again and then put him out there as the middle linebacker. I don't know. That might be a bit much. That might be a homer take right there. But yeah, so there's my 53. And again, like, you can replace Cherilus. Like, if Surratt's not healthy and you have to stash him on the PUP list or something like that, put Vigil in. Like, I liked Claude and Cherilus. I thought he was nice and fancy, and I had no idea about the other two guys. And honestly, I didn't really look into him because I didn't think that they were going to make the roster, because I think, like, Zaire Barnes, Jamie Sherwood, and Chaz Surratt are, like, locks, right? So that's the way that I look at it. Absolutely Shane McGarry, but I think it works different with Breece Hall, because I don't think they're putting you. I don't think you can put Breece on the PUP list. You would have to put Breece on IR. So for you to get onto the IR, you have to be on the roster. I think that's how that works. Again, if I'm wrong, Dom will let me know. But I think that that's how it would work with Breece, because of the fact that he would still be practicing and we would be putting him on the IR just to protect him from himself. So let's go 53-man roster prediction thingy. Then who, Johnny? I need you to be very specific who you're listing here. Bam is a better pass blocker than who? Again, if you can put Breece straight to the IR, and not have to cut a player and then bring him back, that's ideal. That's ideal. But if we're talking about, like, Bam being a better pass blocker than Travis Dye, I would have to argue that. Travis Dye was one of the best pass blockers in college before he got hurt. One of the best pass blockers in college before he got hurt. Johnny, what do you think happens if we sign Cook? I don't think we're going to sign Cook. I think that's a pipe dream. I think that train has left the station. I don't think Cook is coming to the New York Jets. I think that we have pulled the contract offer and that he is trying to go to Miami. He wants to be in Miami. That's what he's doing. But So, see, that's the thing, Dom. That's what I would want. I would want him out till the bye week, like, personally. Whether or not the staff does that, I would want him out to the bye week. So if you can put Brees straight to the IR, put Bam Knight where Travis Dye's name is. The only reason Travis Dye is there for me is because I don't think Bam clears. I think a team like Carolina, I think a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would claim him. So if that's the case, you do that. But yeah. If Cook comes to the team and Dom is right and you don't have to cut anybody, then you go Cook, Izzy, Michael Carter with Brees on the IR. That's how you would do that. Right? Bam still gets the boot in that situation. That being said, and John, no. I think Israel Abanikanda provides a much higher special team skill set than Bam does. Like, the odd man out, the guy who's on the outside looking in right now from the running back room is Bam Knight. That's the reality of it. If Brees Hall is ready week 1, Bam is on the outside looking in. That's just... I don't agree, Rob. You're not gonna... Okay, so let's talk about this, right? Okay. You guys, I understand what you're saying, right? But let's talk about this. Why? What does Bam Knight provide to the team that you don't get in a better form from Brees Hall or Israel Abanikanda? Right? Israel Abanikanda is faster, like much, much faster than Bam Knight, and he's not that big. I didn't say that, Carfox. I did not say that Travis Dye is better than Bam Knight. I said he's probably a better pass blocker, but I don't think he's a better running back. He's on the team. I'm going to take this off so people stop. He's on the team. He was on the team because I didn't think Bam Knight would clear waivers. But that being said, Izzy is less refined as a runner, but you just drafted him in the 4th round. Izzy is a lock to make this team. There's 2 running backs that are going to make this team. It's Brees Hall and Israel Abanikanda. Those are locks. But let's have the conversation, because this is a conversation to be had. Running back 3, who gets that? Who gets that job? What does Bam Knight do that differentiates himself to earn running back 3? And let me ask this question. What does Michael Carter do that separates himself, that puts him on running back 3? Well, here's the thing. Michael Carter is the best pass-catching running back that we have on the team, arguably. Like, Brees Hall is the best overall running back on the team by far and away. But, like, in terms of a pure third down back, a guy who's going to catch passes, Michael Carter might be the best pass-catching running back on the team. Like, if we're just looking at that skill set. Right? So, if that's the case, if Israel Abanikanda and Brees Hall are going to be your first and second down running backs, right? If that's what we're talking about, I want somebody who brings in something different, because Bam Knight is just more of the same, who's just not as fast. John, he is infinitely better than Bam as a pass catcher. Look, I am pro Bam Knight. This isn't me being anti Bam Knight. Don't think that. But Dom said this when on a live stream that he was doing, and I agreed with it, and I said it a little bit earlier. I think the legend of Bam Knight is better than the actual player of Bam Knight, because Bam Knight is what? He's a one-cut runner who falls forward and runs a 4.6. Dude, you can find that running back. You can find those types of running backs bagging groceries, right? Like, there's a reason he was an undrafted free agent. You can find those running backs. Hell, Travis Dye could maybe be that type of running back. We have no idea. We haven't seen him. And I'm not saying that he is, blah, 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 but that's besides the point. But what I'm saying is, it is much easier to find Bam Knight's skill set than it is to find Michael Carter's skill set. Finding a running back who can pass catch is much harder to find than a running back who runs a 4.6 and falls forward, because that's what Bam does. And again, very, very good, but that's my take on it. I would rather have the guy who provides something different to the running back room than the guy who's more of the same. I want a true third down back, and Michael Carter is one of the best of them when it comes to being like just a true third down back. And that's that. Let's see what you guys are saying. You're probably yelling at me. I think Michael Carter could potentially be the odd man out if that's the case. I'm just saying Bam over Carter. There are other sacrifices outside of the running back room that can be made so Bam isn't exposed. Not really. Who are you exposed? Who are you cutting for Bam Knight? Like, who's the guy, Shane? I want to know. Michael Carter tells better jokes over Bam. Again, whatever. I'm not really convinced he is that much better. I talked about that. Agreed. Read The Legend of Bam, I guess. I'm just very down on Michael Carter right now, and I could be wrong about that for sure. Look, I think we're all down on Michael Carter. He had a really bad year last year. And again, it's hard to have a good year as a pass-catching running back when your quarterbacks can't hit the wide side of a barn standing 3 feet next to it. But like, I don't want to come up with excuses for the guy. If you told me that we're keeping Bam Knight over Michael Carter, I totally get it. It's just not the decision I would make. Rob V, yes, but Tigo, if we go with that logic, what happens till Brees gets back or if Brees got hurt again? Well, then you go find another running back. Rob, you always have to have that logic. What are we going to do if Garrett Wilson gets hurt? We don't have another wide receiver on the roster that's as good as Garrett Wilson. What happens if Dwayne Brown gets hurt? Or that's a bad example, but like, what happens if Quinnen Williams gets hurt? We saw that last year. That same logic can transition to all of the positions when you have a superstar. What happens if that superstar gets hurt? The reality is, dude, if your superstar gets hurt, you're kind of effed. If Aaron Rodgers goes down, we're screwed. You can say very similar things about your superstars because they're superstars. They're different. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah. He is as fast, and he is a great at running inside with power, the only inside runner. He also statistically the best pass blocker of the group. Look, Carfox, you're absolutely right, but he's not fast. He wasn't fast. He doesn't clock fast. He didn't run a fast 40. He didn't run a fast 40. He runs a 4.6 40. Like, the real thing is that he can run between the tackles, and that's a skill set. Definitely a skill set. Don't get me wrong. If that's what you're advocating for, is you say, well, Breece Hall is your first to third down back, Israel Abanikanda is a first and second down back, and then you're going to keep Bam Knight because he's your short yardage back, I get it. That's an argument. Like, that's a legitimate argument. And then on top of that, you say that he's an excellent pass blocker. That's a legitimate argument. But with Aaron Rodgers, I want to be throwing the ball. Michael Carter wins it out for me because I just want to throw the ball more. But, yeah. Yeah. Like, that would be a great, that's it. The only way I see Bam making it over Carter is if Carter starts talking again on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. JD, that's a great example. If Breece is healthy, then yeah, Bam may be the odd man out. But if the scenario is Breece is out and there is no way the team goes into week 1 with Carter and Izzy as the only running backs. Totally agree with you, Shane McGarry. I had Travis die here. Like, I had Travis die here because I think unless you can put Breece immediately onto the IR, I think Bam getting exposed, he gets claimed. But if he doesn't get it, like, if you don't have to expose him, oh crap. If you don't have to expose him, right, then yeah, your 3 running back 3 here is definitely Bam Knight if you don't have to expose him. Right? Easily. But if you have to expose him, I think it comes down to, I think Bam gets claimed, and then you got to go run Travis Dye. I totally agree. You're not running 2 running backs into the season. That's insane. You're going to run 3. Yeah, but so was the offensive line. Izzy looked bad, Carfox. Everybody looked bad in the run game. No one looked good in the run game. It took a play that had 4% chance of scoring a touchdown for us to get any type of yardage in the run game. Everybody looked bad in the Hall of Fame game when it came to the run game. Again, there's more preseason to be played, and there's been a lot of practices. So, look, you're right, Carfox. I'm not saying Travis Dye over Bam. I want to be clear here. Travis Dye is not better than Bam. But what I'm saying is if you expose the both of them, which one is more likely to go unclaimed? If you are forced to expose Bam, which one is more likely to go unclaimed, Bam or Travis Dye? Bam is on Tampa Bay immediately, in my opinion, where Travis Dye clears and then you can just bring him back. And again, it's for like 4 weeks. It's not that bad. So, again, I'm not saying Travis Dye is like the end-all, be-all, the best running back in the NFL. No. Look, I like Travis Dye. I thought the kid would have had a draftable grade if he didn't get hurt at USC. That being said, yeah, I think Bam is probably a better running back. Like, pretty easily. Just a matter of we're only going to keep 3 running backs, in my opinion. Oh, if Wilson gets hurt, that would hurt. Well, no, dude, that would be worse. That would be the worst thing. Johnny's right. Can everybody knock on wood? Like, make sure no one gets hurt. Rob V. Israel Abanikanda, we don't know what his pass-catching skill set is. He didn't do it in college. Can he pass catches? I have no idea. That's a legitimate thing. He didn't pass catch in college. They handed him the ball, and he cut up the middle, and he ran for touchdowns. I think he caught I'm going to look it up. How many pass catches? How many catches? Let's go. PFF. Premium stats. NCAA. 2022. By player. Israel. Israel Abanikanda. Regular and post. Pass blocking. No. Receiving. How many catches did he catch all year? Dude, he caught 12 passes all year. So let me put this on the screen for you guys to see. So this is Israel Abanikanda just on his receiving. Don't look at the grades. I don't care about the grades. We're looking down here. Targets. He was targeted 17 times, and he caught 12 passes. We don't know if he can catch the ball well. Because he got thrown the ball like once a game. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying we haven't seen him do it. That's it. So, again, that's again, if I'm making the decision, that would be my logic. I have no idea, Shane. Shane, you might be right? Because, like, again, all of this, this only happens, this scenario, if you have to expose a running back, right? If you have to expose a running back, then it becomes a very difficult conversation of who do you expose and who is more likely to go unclaimed. And of the Israel Abanikanda's a lock because we just drafted him. Between Michael Carter and Bam Knight, the guy who's more likely to go unclaimed is Bam Knight. So you risk Bam hoping that he goes unclaimed. The unfortunate reality would end up being that I think Bam would get claimed. It's a very, very big risk. We don't know anything. And I don't know what the plan is for Breece Hall. If the plan is to put him on the IR immediately so that he doesn't take up a roster spot at all, and I mean at all, this would be phenomenal. And I mean phenomenal. Because then you just keep Bam Knight. You don't expose anybody that matters. And then you have a running back room of Israel Abanikanda, Michael Carter, and Bam Knight. And now you have a legitimate competition for the first 6 weeks. And you tell Michael Carter or Bam Knight, one of them is gone when Bam comes back. And it is up to them to figure out who that job is in NFL game reps. And one of them's gone. So, there you go. That's an ideal situation. But that would be under the guise or under the assumption that the New York Jets front office and coaching staff wants Breece Hall sitting for a minimum of 6 weeks. And I don't know if that's the case. That's where this whole, does Bam Knight get cut? Does Michael Carter get cut? Who clears waivers? Who doesn't clear waivers? It's a whole different thing. So there's that. And then if you put the Cook in the conversation, then the whole conversation changes, right? Because Dalvin Cook can catch passes, kind of. So now you're looking at, well, Michael Carter's skill set becomes a little bit kind of already filled with Dalvin Cook. Now Bam Knight comes back on the roster because now Bam Knight is providing something different because he's a between the tackle, fall forward, short yardage kind of back. And the whole situation goes in a million different directions. But if you're asking me, my opinion of the situation, I don't think that they're going to put Breece on the IR for 6 weeks, even though I think that they should. If that's the case, and they're going to put him on the squad and then put him on the PUP list or then put him on the injury list or something like that, that means that you're going to have to expose a running back. And if you're going to have to expose a running back, I would expose Bam Knight personally, and that's that. And that sucks. But yeah, Car Fox, the screen setup is sweet. Tigo, thank you. I appreciate it. I worked very hard building all of that stuff and the stuff behind me and all that stuff. I appreciate that you like it. Ironically, Breece on IR at this point does kind of sound like a best case scenario, excluding the unrealistic scenario of 100% ready to go Breece in week 1. John, in a perfect world, I would give up my left nut for Breece Hall being fully 105% ready for week 1. But it just doesn't look like it's a reality. And I agree with you. I think the best case scenario for the New York Jets is you protect the player from himself, you put him on IR, and because here's the thing, right? I don't need Breece Hall for the first 7 weeks. I don't care if Breece Hall plays against the Bills, the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Broncos, or the Eagles. You know what I care about? You know what I really legitimately care about is the back 10 weeks. Plus the possibility of a wild card game, a divisional game, an AFC championship game, and then a Super Bowl. I care about the back 14 weeks, not the front 6. So if it was me, John, I would put him on the IR. I would protect the player from himself, protect the coaching staff from themselves, because Breece Hall is such a good player. But I don't care. Dude, the first 6 weeks, we need to get out of the first 6 weeks 3-3. That's it. 3-3, because we run the back half of our schedule. Amongst the Bills, the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Eagles, we need 3 wins. In a perfect world, we need 4. But that's it. Because we beat the Giants in the season. I think we can beat the Chargers. I think we can beat the Raiders, and the Bills, the Finns, the Falcons, the Texans. We run the back half of our schedule. And player highlight, I do not think Breece Hall will be ready week 1. I don't, personally. But yeah. So for me, I care about the back 14 weeks, not the front 6. So that's that. Yeah, exactly. This all falls on whether or not Breece is playing week 1 or not. And yeah, I don't think he is. Man, let's bring back Curtis Martin. He looked ready in Hard Knocks. Oh, dude. Oh. You think he could still run it between the tackles? You think if we gave him an offseason and we said, dude, we're going to keep you as RB4, and on anything under 3 yards, we're just halfback dive with we're I formation, load up the box, the biggest men that we've got, halfback dive. You get 3 yards. Think he could still do that? Have a good one, John. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good night. I'm going to end the stream soon, too. Been on that for 2 hours. Jesus. How much would you give up for Zach Martin? A 4th? Probably. A 4th round pick. I would go a 5th round pick this year and a 2nd round pick next year. That would probably be the trade that I would do. But I wouldn't trade for Zach Martin. I'm only going in this. I would not trade for Zach Martin because now you're going to have 2 offensive linemen making an insane amount of money, and AVT still needs to get paid sooner rather than later. So, look, Zach Martin, stud. stud. Like, one of the best guys, but you're going to have to pay him like $30 million. And it's just like, I would rather allocate that money somewhere else. I don't think the offensive line is as big of a problem as some people make it out to be. And I think that we'll be fine. And so I'd rather, like, if you're telling me that I can spend like $25 million on Zach Martin, or I can spend like $25 million on Devontae Adams, well, he just got hurt. Never mind. Like, I can spend $25 million on Mike Evans. I would rather take Mike Evans because I think Mike Evans does more for the team. It's the Cincinnati Bengals model, right? Instead of trying to protect the quarterback, we just make sure that the quarterback can get the ball out faster, right? It's that model of we don't protect him. We protect him by being able to have wide receivers get open immediately, and like the guys just won't have enough time to get to our quarterback. With a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's so smart and can dissect defenses before the ball is snapped and has been playing for so long and has a quick release and does all that stuff, I would much rather get him a guy like a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin or a Terry McLaurin or any of the wide receivers who might become available and invest that money there, because that contract would line up more with Garrett Wilson's contract. I would be willing to trade for a Terry McLaurin and then give him a 3-year deal, because at the end of his 3-year deal, he's gone, and we can just pay Garrett Wilson, and those contracts never overlap. We never have to worry about it. So, yeah, there's that. Tio, exactly, man. I'm worried more about the back end. We need a playoff game. Exactly. We need a playoff game. Let's say we carry another tight end or corner. What other position can we cut down a player on? Here's the reality. We don't have to carry Chaz Surratt. There is a legitimate thought process with our team specifically, because we run so much nickel coverage, to cut the 5th linebacker and you just run 4 linebackers. And so then you can carry an extra player there. There is some merit. I don't personally espouse to this. I don't think it's a good idea, but there is some merit to the idea of cutting one of the corners and you running 5 corners instead of 6. So like you could cut Jimmy Moreland and then you run Sauce, MC2, DJ, Brandon Echols, and Javelin Guidry, and you just don't have a backup in case both of your corners go down. And Javelin Guidry was playing as an outside corner, so he does have that flexibility. So there's that. There is another option here where you could say you don't carry Trey Dean and you carry 3 safeties, because Javelin Guidry can also kind of help and play free safety. Like, Javelin Guidry provides a ton of value as depth at a bunch of different places. But the reality when you have this conversation, player highlights, is like, is cutting these players and carrying the extra tight end or whatever, is carrying that extra player, is carrying Kenny Yeboah or Zach Kuntz worth the risk of the solidifying of your back end when Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert, and CJ Uzama are so damn good, right? And you're right, Rob V. I totally forgot about it. Adrian Amos can also play as that hybrid linebacker safety role as well. So, like, again, so you've got a lot of, on the defensive side of the ball, specifically in the secondary, you have a lot of players that are really interchangeable. Outside of the starting 3 guys in terms of Sauce, Michael Carter, and DJ Reed, who you don't move no matter what, Brandon Echols, Javelin Guidry, Jimmy Moreland, Craig James, Adrian Amos, Trey Dean, they all have really, really good positional flexibility. Javelin Guidry can play outside and inside. He can also play safety. Trey Dean can play safety, but can also play linebacker if you really kind of needed him to. Brandon Echols can play inside and in the slot if you need him to. Craig James, same thing, can play outside and inside if you needed him to. So we have a lot of those things. But, yeah. So, yeah, that's that. My prediction for the Jets this year is 14-3. I say we lose to the Bills in Buffalo, lose to KC, and lose to the Eagles. But we get revenge AFC Championship against KC. Super Bowl, we beat Philly. I think 14-3 is incredibly generous. I think we're 12-5. I think we lose. I think we drop a game to Miami if Tua's healthy. Now, that's a massive if. I think we drop a game to Miami. I think we drop a game to the Bills. I think we drop the games against Kansas City and Philly. and then give me a surprise loss in the middle of the season. Like the Chargers. We could lose to, I think we're better than the Chargers, but like we could lose to the Chargers. Like that's a legitimate team that we can lose to. The Cowboys. I think we're better than the Cowboys, but we can lose to the Cowboys. So I think 12-5 is what we're going to go. I think 12-5 is good enough for the number 1 seed in the AFC East. And then boom. We're laughing. We're laughing to the AFC Championship game. And that's when I get worried. Because I think we win the divisional game, and then I think I easily, I don't care who the opponent is. But yeah. What is Rodgers' weakness? What defense on our schedule gives us a hard time? Is that a question? Like, are you asking me, like, what defenses are going to give us a hard time? Or are you trying to, like, lead me down a path of, like, no defense is going to give Aaron Rodgers a hard time? Is that a question? If the Chargers stay healthy and take a step forward with new offense, they could be very, very dangerous. People are back to sleeping on Herbert after last year. I totally agree. That's why I said, like we can lose to the Chargers. Justin Herbert is that dude. Yeah, they got Kellen Moore. More, right? Kellen Moore. I love that move for them. I'll answer that question in a second, M. Lopez. As long as Staley is the coach, the Chargers have no chance in the playoffs. But dude, they're a really good regular season team. They stay winning. Yo, okay. Everyone cool with this? Can I take this away? Is everyone cool if I take this away? Everyone cool with the 53? Why am I asking? It's my stream. I do what I want. Let's talk about this, and I'm going to answer M. Lopez's question, going over it, and then I'm going to end the stream because I've been live for like 2 hours. I have been live for 2 hours. So let's talk about this because this is really, really interesting, right? In a group chat, I have multiple friends group chats and stuff like that. I have multiple friends group chats and stuff like that. So one of the questions that I posed in all of the group chats is, I wanted to lead people down, right? Because I didn't want to just like come out and say it. I said, which head coaches are getting fired at the end of this year? Like, who do you think is going to get fired at the end of this year? I think it's a very fair question to ask. Who's on the hot seat? So we came up with the list, right? And we can make this list too, right? Who's on the hot seat? Ron Rivera with the Washington Commanders is on the hot seat. Not because Ron Rivera is a bad coach, but because Washington has new ownership. They might want to move on. Totally makes sense. I think Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat. I think that legitimately. If the Dallas Cowboys go and have another like mediocre year in terms of like for like 10-7, 11-6, they make the playoffs and they just lose out of the divisional round, Mike McCarthy legitimately could get fired. Like that's just that. I included this on the list not because I think they're going to fire him ever, but I think this might be his last year and he might retire. Bill Belichick might retire. Boom. There's 3 seats that are gone. And I don't think McDermott is going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere. Right? Boom. There's those guys. Then there is Sean Payton in Denver. Might see that Denver actually sucks and go back to Fox. That's a legitimate thing. Brandon Staley with the Chargers. I think he's gone at the end of the year. And then Todd Bowles with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he's gone at the end of the year. And I think those are the only head coaches really that are on the hot seat. Right? In my opinion. So of those teams, one of them is going to get Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. Right? You know what, J. Claus? You're not wrong. He might try to beat Shula. I just put it out there. He might retire. He might look at Mac Jones for a year and be like, I can't do this, and leave. Right? That might be it. And because how long are you going to be able to keep Gerard Mayo, not Mark Mayo. How long are you going to be able to keep Gerard Mayo? Because he's supposed to be the heir apparent there. He's supposed to be the next, head coach of the New England Patriots. How long are you going to be able to keep him? I don't think Carroll retires because, I think Carroll runs it back one more year because they got a really good team. No, you know why, Rob V? Because he has an excuse this year. He has an excuse when they lost their DC. He has an excuse, and the Pagulas will give him another year. Next year, he's on the hot seat. If they don't do anything this year, next year, he's on the hot seat. Totally agree. But this year, he has an excuse, and I think he keeps his job. It's an interesting conversation. I get where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with you, but I think he has a built-in excuse with the defensive coordinator leaving. But back to what I was saying, right? So I said, like, so where does Ben Johnson go? Because my whole thing is, I think Ben Johnson is waiting for the Chargers job. That's why he didn't take a head coaching job this year. I think he's waiting for the Chargers job. And Ben Johnson with Justin Herbert, sign me up. That would be an insanely good offensive-minded head coach with an insanely good quarterback. The Chargers would become very scary. Yeah. Yeah. Back up here to answer this. What defenses on our schedule give us a hard time? So there's a couple, right? So let's talk about it. The Buffalo Bills are led by a defensive coordinator who became a head coach, right? And they've got a really solid defense. Now, do I think... Sorry, my wife is at work and she's texting me. The Buffalo Bills, solid defense. Now, we can beat the Buffalo Bills, but solid defense. You beat me to it, John. Dallas is it. Dallas, I think, is the second biggest defensive challenge, because how do you stop Micah Parsons? Dude, Micah Parsons versus anybody on our offensive line is unfair. It's not just against Max Mitchell. Dude, I would not want Micah Parsons against Dwayne Brown. Like, how do you stop Micah Parsons? Like, he's one scary dude. Like, he might go down, like, legitimately. If Micah Parsons keeps his thing going, and I'm going to knock on all the wood, because he's in the NFC, and I don't care how good he is and all that stuff. We have to play him, like, once in a blue moon. If he keeps this up, dude, he might go down as one of the greats. One of the greats. Like, that might be hyperbole, but I don't think it is. Micah Parsons has that potential to be one of the greats. So, the Cowboys. Now, here are defenses that I'm not necessarily worried about, but, like, they're good defenses. I'm never going to sleep on a New England Patriots Bill Belichick-led defense. Like, that can be a solid defense. Miami with Vic Fangio, someone brought it up, is going to be a solid defense. I'm not scared of that defense. There's not a single player on that defense that I look in and I go, oh my gosh, shiver me timbers, outside of the one edge rusher that they had, Jalen Phillips, right? Jalen Phillips is a stud, but it's the only person on that team that I'm like, damn, right? And you can try to scheme him because he's no Micah Parsons, but he's still, Jalen Phillips is legit, right? Legit. But you can scheme around that. But again, new defensive system, whole new defensive scheme, a whole new defensive playbook. How quickly are they going to get that? I'm not trying to take anything away from Miami. Miami can have a solid defense. The Broncos are going to they're going to continue to have one of the best defenses in the NFL. As long as Patrick Surtain is there, like Patrick Surtain, in my opinion, is the best cornerback in football, and that's me trying to not be biased into putting Sauce there. And the only reason I have Pat Surtain above Sauce right now on my list is because Pat Surtain has been at the top of the game and the best cornerback in football 3 years in a row. Sauce did it for 1 year. Now, if Sauce runs it back, I'm putting Sauce there, and I don't care that I'm a Jets fan. But the Broncos' D was good last year, and I think they're still going to be good this year. Philadelphia's defense is the best defense in the NFL. That's a hard defense. But here's the great part about that. Outside of Miami, we face all of those defenses within the first 6 weeks. And those are the hard defenses, because now let's run the back half of our schedule, and let's talk about the defenses we face in the back half of the schedule, which aren't that hard. And, like, we faced Kansas City in the first week, right? Their offense is what's scary, not their defense. We can light up their defense. But let's talk about the back half. Giants defense, I'm not scared of the Giants defense. Chargers defense, I'm not scared of the Chargers defense. I'm scared of Max Crosby, but I'm not scared of the Raiders defense. Then the Bills again. Then the Fins again. The Falcons are a sleeper defense. They're going to be a good defense. Am I scared of the Falcons defense? No. Are they going to be good? Absolutely. The Falcons are going to be interesting. Texans, we blow out the Texans. That's a 45 bomb. Like that's a 50, that's a game that should be a 50 bomb, but won't be because Robert Saleh is going to be nice to D'Amico Ryans. That's what that is. Then the Finns again, week 15. I'm not scared of the Washington Commanders defense. They've got a lot of really good guys on the defensive line, but their secondary is abysmal. I'm not scared of the Browns defense with guys who aren't named Myles Garrett. And then the Patriots again. I'm just saying, we can run the back half of our schedule, and the only defense, like, we face a lot of good defenses. But the thing is that we have one of the best defenses in the NFL. So I expect that the New York Jets are going to be in a lot of really close games this year in terms of like numbers, because I think we're going to be in low scoring affairs because we're going to be in a ton of games. Like if you tell me that the Buffalo Bills game ends like 13-10, I can see that happening because those defenses are just so good. You know, if you tell me that the Cowboys games ends 9-6, I can see that happening. These are two juggernaut defenses going back at it. But then you go like the Kansas City game. Like the Kansas City game is going to be like 35-30. You know, somebody's winning and it's going to be in the 30s. Because how do you stop Patrick Mahomes? You don't. Just hard. It's like impossible. But yeah. Totally agree, Zoe Royalty. I totally agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, but Rob, it was. The back half of... Dude, we lost 6 games to 1 score. 6 games. We lost 6 one-score games. And it was because we couldn't score. We couldn't score. It wasn't because of our defense. Our quarterback play fell apart. So again, I'm not trying to take any of the opponents lightly. The only games that I'm looking on this schedule as certified 100% dubs, both New England games, the Browns game, the Commanders game, and the Houston Texans game. That's it. Only games that I'm like certified dubs. Don't even play the starters. We can beat them with the backups. Like those, every other game, they're going to be in it. But I think that we should win more than we lose. I see our floor at 10-7 and ceiling at 13-4. I think we go 11-6. It's a good rec. I think we're at 12-5, and I think our floor is 11 wins and our ceiling is 14 wins, but I think we end up at 12. Oh, dude, this is the most... Yeah, absolutely. You never know in the NFL. You can start out bad and end up finish great. You can start great and finish bad. We have no idea. It's the NFL, dude. That's why we play on Sundays. Because Deshaun Watson is garbage. That's it. Deshaun Watson is washed. That's that. Oh, I forgot we play the Giants. Giants, you can chalk that up to a dub. Daniel Jones can't make a pass. I have absolutely zero faith in the Browns. I don't think that the Browns are a good football team. And I think that by the time we face the Browns, remember we faced the Browns week 17, I think they're going to be battered, bruised, demoralized, just absolutely I think they would have given up on their season by that point. By that point in time, I think the Cleveland Browns are like 6-8, 6-9, and they're looking at the rest of the schedule and they're just like, let's just get Myles Garrett Defensive Player of the Year votes, and let's just pack this thing up and let's just make it to next year. Like, dude, they are so good, but I think Elijah Moore got hurt again. I'm not scared of Amari Cooper in the slightest. Chubb, best running back in the NFL, in my opinion. Like, I think he's so damn good. Myles Garrett, second best edge rusher in the NFL. Maybe third, depending on how you rank TJ Watt. And, probably third best edge rusher in the NFL because I have Micah Parsons as the number 1 defensive player in the NFL, like, at all positions. But, like, that's it. That's the way that I look at it. I'm not really worried about the Browns. Not that they're bad. I just think that, dude, we face them. They're a second to last game. They're a second to last game. So, Give me a second. Cool. I was catching up on Twitter. I got a million notifications. But yeah, that's that. Yeah. Dorian Thompson looked better than Deshaun. Yeah, he did. I think that. 1 catch for 6 yards. Dude, Deshaun Watson, that trade is going to go down as one of the worst trades in history for the Browns. Of course, the year we're finally contending, we have our hardest schedule in years, are in the best division in the NFL, in the league, and when the AFC is miles better than the NFC. I know, right? It sucks. But hey, that's it. I can see the Giants game be close because by halftime, then we blow them out in the second half. The Giants game is going to be really interesting, in my opinion, just because, like, I am never going to sleep on Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll is one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. Like, I love that guy. And seeing him leave the Bills and then going to the NFC made me really happy. And him being in New York makes me really happy. I love Brian Daboll and what he can do. But the problem is that Brian Daboll was he was told, hey, you have to win this poker hand. And it's not Texas Hold'em where it's like 2 cards. It's 5 cards. And he was only given 2 cards. And he has to win the hand with 2 cards somehow. Because, like, Daniel Jones ain't it. That defense ain't it. And the only weapon they have on offense is Saquon. And so he is climbing uphill both ways during the snow, fighting off a Tyrannosaurus Rex and a lion to try to get that team to go. And he's got that team going somehow. But that's an uphill battle. Because that team is not built well. And you hope that Bean, right? That's their GM, can turn that ship around and quickly. If the first 4 games we are 2-2, we will be okay. Zoe, I say I want to get to the bye week 3-3 because we have a week 7 bye week. If we get to the bye week 3-3, I count that as a win. I count that as a massive success. If we have last year's schedule, we win 15 games. I don't remember last year's schedule. Let me look at the last year's schedule. No. Yeah, absolutely. Probably 15 wins. As long as we can stop the run and cover tight ends this year, we'll be fine. Dude, we Al Woods was brought in to do that. Our linebackers are looking better when it comes to that stuff. And Trey Dean. Trey Dean was built in a lab to erase linebackers. That's what he was built for. I think we should keep Trey Dean. And if a linebacker ever comes onto the field, Michael Carter if a second linebacker ever comes onto the field, because the first linebacker is going to be C.J. Mosley's job. Right? Like, that's pretty. CJ, you're going to cover the first linebacker. That's going to be that's pretty standard. Now, I don't like that. I would rather like, hey, Jamie Sherwood, you cover the first linebacker. And then you say, CJ, you cover the running back. That's a better situation, in my opinion. Personally, I would prefer that. But if a second tight end ever comes on the field, Trey Dean, you're coming on the field, you erase that guy. That guy doesn't exist anymore. That's how I would do it. But I am also an offensive guy. I am not a defensive guy. Sheen. It's Sheen. Who's Bean? Where's Bean? Bean is in Buffalo, right? Wait a second. You're thinking we're going to lose a game this year? Bold prediction. I think we're going to lose a couple of games, right? I can't just sit here and say 20-0. Do you think we have a better chance of winning it all this year or next year? I think in terms of winning everything, I think next year is the year. Like, if we're only going to win 1 ring with Aaron Rodgers in an ideal week, we win back-to-back rings. In a perfect world, we win back-to-back rings. But I think the better year to win the Super Bowl is next year, because I think that we can load up on talent a little bit more next year. A lot of this offseason was wasted on trying to get Aaron Rodgers. And next year you can really load up for a 1-year push. So, yeah. Our defense is going to be a nightmare for teams with weak offensive lines, Pats, Finns, Giants, etc. Zoe, absolutely right. Buffalo should be on that list too. JD says it. Says it perfectly. Dolphins' offensive line is absolutely atrocious. Totally agree. Again, we're going to absolutely wreak havoc. It's not a matter of, like, whenever I say that we're going to have a challenge with the team, it's always because they bring something else, right? Like, I think the hardest challenge is going to be the Eagles game because it's like it's two juggernaut defenses and two potential juggernaut offenses. And like the reason I put us, they're a juggernaut offense, but we can be a juggernaut offense. But how do we handle that defense? That's the real question. So yeah, they're the reason Tua is gonna die. They have the best O-line in football, Rob V. They are insanely good. They should use the money they spent on Ramsey for some O-line. Dude, they needed to address the defense. They're just hoping that the offensive line clicks. And remember, Teron Armstead got hurt last year. Do we have any big name free agents next year? A couple. Let me look at it. And then I'm done. And I'm gonna eat my food. I haven't eaten yet. And I'm going to bed. I've got a 1-year-old that's gonna wake me up in like 6 hours. Okay? 2024 free agents. Oh, let's look. What positions are we going to want to look at? Wide receiver, left tackle, right tackle, interior defensive lineman, edge, linebacker, safety, and that's it. We could bring Leonard Williams back. Chris Jones is unsigned. Mike Evans. Man, can you imagine we load up and we bring in Mike Evans? Oh, I would love it. DJ Reader hits the free agent market. That would be a really interesting pickup. Curtis Samuel, super slept on. I would bring in Curtis Samuel. Tyler Boyd, I'd bring in Tyler Boyd as well. Oh, no. Michael Thomas, Dwayne Brown. Micah Hyde, no. Carl Lawson, no. Chase Young, because he wasn't tagged and we have no idea what his situation. He's technically slated to hit the free agent market. Nick Bosa is technically slated to hit the free agent market. I don't think either one of those guys make it the free voice crack. I don't think either one of those guys make it, but again, they're listed there. Not really, dude. Oh, Josh Allen of the Jaguars is technically supposed to be a free agent, but he's not hitting free agency. Yo, next year is weak sauce. Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good, ooh. Do we take a shot? No, you can't bring another 34-year-old linebacker, right? I was going to say Levante David is going to be a free agent. Rashawn Gary? Are they dumb enough to not sign Rashawn Gary? Yeah, next year's class is not that great. Next year's class is kind of bad. Dude, in the group chat, Johnny, we were arguing, me and Nick Shine of Proud New York Jets fans, about the Berrios dropped ball in the end zone to lose the game, right? Because he could have won the game if he caught it. And I blame Braxton Berrios for dropping that ball, right? I said Braxton Berrios should be a better receiver. He should catch that. Where Nick argues that Mike White placed the ball badly, and that's why Berrios dropped it. So that we put the blame in different places, right? That being said, today they had an almost identical play, and I sent it in the group chat just to get him going. Oh, it was so funny. The Eagles will be like a 1980s defense game. The score. Oh yeah, dude. It's gonna be 6-3. Whoever scores the second field goal first wins. Ooh, I love it. I love this energy. Boyd ain't going nowhere. T. Higgins gonna be available though. Oh, I'm ending the stream. Did you hear that voice crack? Jesus Christ. I've been talking straight for 2.5 hours. It is midnight. I'm going to answer this question. I'm ending the stream. I don't think Boyd or Higgins is going anywhere. I think they're going to just dump the money in the wide receiver room, and they're going to say, we're going to figure it out with offensive tackles in the 4th and the 5th round. Here's the thing, Rob. Watch that pass back and tell me where the passing lane was for him to put that ball better. He had to sidearm that ball between two defenders because the offensive line was collapsing and the corner was on his ass and a linebacker was coming in to end his career. The best place to put that ball was in his chest, is to have him turn to it, catch it with his hands, bring it into his body, and then roll over just like he did, right? The problem was he tried to catch it with his body. It bounced off of his chest, and he never got possession of it. I am, actually, Johnny. I have been working behind the scenes to build all of that stuff, and it's starting real soon. Got a green screen. I worked on all of the branding for it, all of that stuff. And so I am definitely going to be launching, again, it has nothing to do with football. It's going to be a gaming channel. I'm not even going to promote it. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to be associated with this channel at all. Like, it's content that most of you guys probably don't care about. But I like making content. There's a limited ceiling, unfortunately, with the ability to make content for Jets stuff. And I love this channel, and this will always be my primary channel. Like, I love this thing because I love football, love talking football. But yeah, we are a couple of weeks away from me launching my second channel. Very excited about it. I'm in a little bit of a limbo right now because I like a lot of different games, but I'm in a little bit of a limbo in terms of where I kind of want to go in terms of the gaming stuff. Do I want to go this direction, this direction, this direction? So I'm doing a couple of test bits of content. That's actually what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to be recording an episode for the new channel and then for the different areas, and then seeing which one I like the most. Like if I was watching, which one I would prefer and which one I would click on, and then sending it to like my friends that I trust and people whose opinions in that space that I value to say like, which content do you think is better? Which highlights my personality and me better and gives me an ability. So yeah. Oh, I don't do fighting games, man. Don't do fighting games. Jets will hang 35 on both the Chiefs and the Eagles. After that, it's obvious who class of the league is. If we can, I think it's a high scoring game against the Chiefs. It's 35-30 is the score, and I don't know who wins it. But I think the Eagles is a low scoring game. With that, we're going to end it because it's midnight. I'm tired. I'm yawning. My beautiful baby boy is going to wake me up in like 6 hours, 7 hours if I'm lucky. So I'm going to go catch some sleep. I'm going to go eat my food. I'm going to catch some sleep. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with the channel tonight. Guys, I'm getting way, way, way more active on Twitter. So if you want to be part of any future giveaways that isn't this one, go in the link in the description and hit the follow button on there. If you're watching this back afterwards, let me know what you think in the comments. I respond to every single comment left on every single video. I see all of them. I respond to all of them. Thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button on the way out and hitting the like button on the way out as well. It really helps the content and really helps the channel. I appreciate all you guys. I'm so excited for this year's season. We'll be back here on the Talking Jets with Tigo channel next Friday at 9:30. Come back, have some fun, hang out. Let me know what you guys want to see next week because I have no idea. And yeah, have a good one. Good night. Go Jets.